Man, Arcane was so good, man. So good.
I know. Did you see when Jinx did that whoosh and that beatdown?
Yeah, it almost makes me want to install.
What? Ugh, what do you mean? Why would you? You know you shouldn't, you know.
Fascinating. Truly fascinating. I've seen the song and dance before countless times, and yet it never ceases to entertain me. Are you seeing this? These half-hearted, will they, won't they, Stockholm Syndrome commitment issue having gamer Andes? See this? This was never me, and I wish I could say it was because I was always too masochistic to stop playing a game where everyone's telling me to keep myself safe. But it's actually more simple than that. I game, therefore I am. Everyone's had at least one of those impossible games, right? You know, those teeth-clenching, hands-sweating, one-man army, main character, spotlight shining, clutch victories. You know, the kinds of games with battles that give you memories you'll remember forever. I mean, I know I'm not the only one. I mean, I'm definitely not skilled enough to be the only one. Like, let's be real. Well, I've definitely had at least one of those. In fact, I've actually had several, but there's one memory I cherish above the others, and like any schizo neurospicy meat, I've enjoyed this memory more than once. So, let me set the stage. League of Legends is a video game spin-off of the hit show Arcane. It's obviously got its normal modes, some fun modes, and its ranked ladder, but on an infrequent basis, they have a competitive 5v5 only team mode called Clash. And if you've heard this one before, this explanation isn't for you. It's for the every gamer, specifically the ones with self-respect that don't force themselves to play a game that makes them full of hatred. So, come now, sit down on your jizz-stained, creaky office chair, grab some snacks, and put on some comfy headphones. So, Clash, the 5v5 try-hard Giga Sweat special. As someone with crippling performance anxiety for fear of disappointing my friends, I always performed at my job as a free agent, a random that could be slotted into any squad of 4 to be the piece that they need to fill out their missing puzzle. By the way, I made tons of friends this way, which means I had to find a new group every single time. Now let me introduce the cast. Allow me to present my friend Connor. Connor, aka Cup of Water, is my longest held friend in this group. At the time, he was Diamond 2 or 3, and he'll be the ADC of this operation. Next is Ethan, aka Fridge. He's the man responsible for the Ines, you should make a Clash team idea, and at the time of this performance, he's Gold 3, but he's peak Masters at his most autistic. He'll be our jungler.
Hello, it's me, Ines, with an update during the production of this production. Congratulations to Fridge for hitting Diamond. You are my silly little guy.
Next is Fridge's friend Connor, aka Hoot. We're gonna call him Hoot because it's gonna get confusing if I don't. He'll be our mid laner, and he is the highest ranked member of the group at the time. And last but not least is my friend Ramon. Ramon, aka Dreadnought, or Dread for short, he was, I want to say, Plat 1 or 2. As an aside, this was before they added Emerald, so the rank spread out looked like this. And then there's me, Gold 3, peaked at Plat 1. And with our crew assembled, we stormed the Rift. Clash, as a competitive 5v5, is more structured and different than the standard ranked flex, the other lesser competitive 5v5. First, you are assigned a tier based on your skill level between 1 to 4. For reference, I think we averaged out to a 2. My personal tier was 4, but hey, who's counting? It's a team game. Then, there's a series of strategizing phases that happen before you get into the actual best of 1 face-off. I'll do my best to keep things from being confusing to my non-league playing audience, but it breaks down into the matching phase, the scouting phase, the draft phase, and then the actual game. First, you are put into a pod of 8 teams in your designated tier. You and these 7 other teams will compete against each other in a single elimination bracket. Next, it's the scouting phase. The game client displays the enemy team you'll be immediately facing off with and the players on it. It also includes their ranks and the champions they're good at. This information is useful for the draft phase. The two competing teams take turns picking and banning characters. There's a whole lot of strategy to this, but to keep it simple, you ban the characters the enemy team is good at. So in practice, it would be something like, oh, I don't want to fight their support's Blitzcrank. That's hard for me to deal with. And you spread the bans out, making sure your bases are covered. But on that faithful day, I learned about a new, forbidden strategy. One so brutal, even Genghis Khan would say, Genghis can't. It's called fuck the mid laner in the ass and mouth by running a train of bans on them. Every single one, all 5 of them. And so, who got his kneecaps caved in before the first game even started? We got washed. It was actually pretty bad. But Clash is a series of 3 games, and we happen to lose our first. There's still more games to be played. Game 2 begins. All right, here we go again. The scouting phase. Woo! So we got a general idea for what we wanted. Our game plan being the usual spread shot. And with our list of potential bans decided, the draft phase began. Our first ban goes out on target 1. Their ban comes in on Hoot. My alarm bells are ringing lightly, but I'm not concerned just yet. Oh, not yet. Our second ban goes out on target 2. Their ban comes in once again on our highest ranked player, Hoot. Now, this might be my second or maybe third time I did Clash with my friends. And I wasn't about to let my friends get dog walked by people who target our strongest. Did I say people? I meant cowards. So I asked, Hoot, what other roles are you good at? I mean, I can play any role. Hoot, what other roles are you good at?
I'm not exactly asking the same question here, believe it or not. I'm asking him to choose what strength he wants to unleash. Optimistically speaking, most high-ranked League players can play a bit in every role, but they tend to have at least 2 that they properly excel in.
I play a really mean Thresh. And so, me and Hoot swapped places. This is pretty fortunate since despite playing ADC and support in solo queue, my flex Clash role is actually mid lane. I'm not gonna get into it, but the characters I play perform really well in a coordinated 5v5. So, per our prior calculations and strategizing, I'm going to be squaring up against a Plat 3 mid laner, which it isn't that big of a jump. The bans continue coming, where they full ban out Hoot, not realizing that we played some musical chairs in the back, meaning everyone got everything they wanted and their bans were wasted. Yippee! Game 2 goes much better, as in like we won. And but things got a lot more interesting in our final game of the night. Game 3. So, we went into Game 3 with the intent of keeping the swap going, but here's the thing. The scouting phase revealed I would be up against someone ranked higher than Hoot, and let me remind you that this is how the ladder disparity looked. Needless to say, I was punching way above my weight class. The modern-day David vs. Goliath face-off that no one asked for and yet I'm dying to tell you about. We don't have time to hash this out. The scouting phase is over. The draft is beginning. So, our first ban goes out hitting their mid laner. The intent was the usual spread shot. That's how things have always been on both sides. That's how they've always been. I don't know what to tell you. Their next ban targets Hoot, of course, but, you know. And I knew at that moment that I had to take the switch. But then, it crosses my mind. I'm going to ban out their mid laner. I know, hold your applause. My strategic mind is most impressive. You needn't tell me something I'm already deeply aware of. It's why my neck is so tiny. All the nutrients went into my brain, starving my body of resources. So, every single subsequent ban goes out for the 2 mid laners, or so they believed. I'm pretty sure they were betting on my team not sending our lowest ranked member to fight their highest ranked member. Well, again! So, their 5 bans were once again wasted because of my 300 IQ quantum level strat, and everyone on my team got their preferred characters, so it should make up for the skill diff in mid lane. The team breakdown is as follows. Our team has Dread on Aatrox, Fridge on Elise, me on Lux, Connor on Vayne, Hoot on Thresh. Their bot lane had Alistar and Lucian, their jungler was Lee Sin, their mid laner, and their highest ranked player and my opponent was LeBlanc, and their top laner. I actually don't remember who it was, so they probably weren't very important. Let's just say they were, let's just say they were playing John Demacia. Let's say they were playing John Demacia. Alright, well, our plan was simple. I do my best to not get slaughtered in mid lane and everyone else carries me. Easy peasy, right? Oh no. So, Fridge had an emergency work call in a way that totally violated work-life balance, but hey, duty calls, so he was basically on autopilot.
Bye, have a great time.
Well, guys, there's some good news and some bad news. The good news is Dread got to go on a vacation. The bad news is he went to France. He went to France and got Eiffel Towered. Our refrigerator was running away down there, and it was an all-you-can-eat shish kebab meat market in top lane. Poor Dread, actually. He did not have fun up there. What about bot lane?
An ally has been slain. Double kill.
Well, that's not great. That wasn't the plan at all. Looks like it's up to me, right? Well, those aren't good odds, but it was like the spirit of Faker possessed my body. It started with a few small trades where I came out on top, but then I got a really good read, and then another one, and that's when I realized I was in this man's brain. Like, there wasn't a single move he could be able to make that I wouldn't predict. Like, I was Ultra Instinct Innis right now, and somehow I managed to hold the line against all odds. I had no business winning this, by the way, like, absolutely not. Thanks, Faker, but I'm not gonna lie, our prospects, they were still pretty grim. But hey, you're here and I'm telling you the story, so we already know how this ends, don't we? Still, the road wasn't easy. In fact, there was a time where it felt like all hope was lost. Elise, she's an early game character, so Fridge was about as useful as a snake wearing ice skates on a slip and slide. Dread lost the numbers game. Ouch. And bot lane was actually just a little bit gapped, not gonna lie. But it's understandable. Our bot lane was better late, and put a pin in that. Even though I was earning gold and channeling it into items of magical mass destruction, they weren't exactly building items to counteract Vayne. Put another pin in that. So, for League, there's generally a safe and foolproof process to winning a game when it gets to be in this sort of game state. Like, they mix the water and flour and yeast and let that dough rise. Hell, they threw that entire loaf in the oven already because, for all intents and purposes, we were cooked. Stuffed and cooked. Piece by piece, they dismantled our base. Tower after tower, inhib after inhib. At this point, they were simply going through the motions to close out a victory that they've honestly rightfully earned. But I am a sick individual and I never ever give up. I will drag this out into a 55-minute match, if only for the sake of making you dig through a mountain of garbage and filth to secure your victory. If you want it, you gotta earn it. My friends call it the Shonen Pro Tag mental. I call it turbo autism. Hey, potato tomato. If the enemy team wanted that victory, they better break that Nexus and they better break it quick. By the way, this was before towers respawned, so our last line of defense was down. This is it. The next team fight decided our fate. There's something inside of me that just wakes the fuck up when you've got me against the ropes. I've said this to my friends as a passing story. If you open the Nexus, you better close out the game then and there, because you effectively just charged my super meter. You might not realize it yet, but the game is about to get so much harder for you. And lucky for me, my friend Connor's the same way. The enemy team came at us and it was close, but it wasn't enough. Despite the enemy team suffering tremendous casualties, we were still regretfully down to our last man, which happens to be my boy Connor! Get him, big guy! Pew pew pew! Still, it was 1 verse 3, but you were keeping notes, right? I told you it was gonna be on the quiz! Well, As a reminder, the enemy team was geared to survive against me, but not against him. It was a nail-biting, ass-cheek-clenching fight, but I know that, Cup. Connor would never let us down. Although, this doesn't win us the game, it just stops us from losing right then and there. You see, we have a bunch of angry enemy minions coming knocking at the door that isn't there, so Cup of Water has become Door of Silver. As in he needs to clean house to mop up the mistakes us lesser beings made. But I think they're starting to sweat. I think they're finally realizing that maybe, just maybe, we can snatch victory from the jaws of our still looming defeat.
I need you to understand something right now. Clash was fought for the purpose of winning a prize at the end of the 3 matches. Back then, it was based on your standings. If you lost your first game, at best you could only get 5th place. Since we lost our first one and won our second one, right now we are scrapping over 5th and 6th place. The best prize we could get was possibly like a award skin or something. This is not life or death. Right now, we are fighting like the fate of the world depends on our victory, when in reality it's like less than 50 cents actually, which is basically nothing considering the amount of effort we're putting in. This is strictly for the love of the game.
So my team respawns, their team respawns. The longer the game goes on, the longer the death timers are. And at this point, the clocks run out. The chips are down. Every single death lasts well over a minute, and every single person on both sides of the map are armed to the teeth. Despite the fact that we hadn't even made a dent in their defenses yet, their towers and base will get shredded like paper if, and only if, we can win the next fight. They walk down our lanes and once again bust open all 3 of our inhibs, guaranteeing an unstoppable force of enemy minions if we so much as breathe wrong. This is my favorite part. Win or lose, nothing feels better than dancing on the razor-thin edge between victory and defeat.
Oh, no, not me. I did it my way. For what is a man? What has he got? If not himself, then he has not to say the things he truly feels, and not the words of one who kneels. The record shows I took the blows and did it my
And that's it. That's where my story ends. I died somewhere in the crossfire, dead by my fallen brother Fridge RGB. And it's up to Hoot and Cup of Water to finish things out. But that wave of minions is mighty fierce, and we don't have any defenses left. Perhaps it was foolish to dream. Perhaps maybe, but that's the lamenting of a weaker soul, and my team has no weak souls. Were you forgetting someone? Well, we had one last line of defense. Our secret anchor, who had to defend against that aforementioned impossible wave. I want to imagine their comms went dead. There's something about people who are so sure that they're going to win. It's that they're so beautifully amazed when they lose. Their death timers are well over 70 seconds long. Connor and Connor could not be stopped as they tore through their outer tower, their inner tower, their inhib tower and inhib, the Nexus towers, and finally, their Nexus. At this point, Faker, who is known for being humble, has now left my body because I was a little bit too smug and righteous to avoid gloating a little bit as a treat. And so what did I write in that post-game screen? To my rival, who should have won that for all intents and purposes, but was instead integral to losing because of how big of a gap there was between us. And that's a wrap! LeBlanc, if you're still out there, I haven't forgotten you, and I hope you haven't forgotten me. I hope your friends teased you at least a little bit, but not too much. Every dog has their day, you know, and that day was mine. If you're gonna blame anyone, blame Faker. So that's the story of my favorite game, set, and match. Did you enjoy the show? The very first production of the Innocent YouTube channel? Well, if you did, please follow me on Twitch. I stream most weeknights, so you'll be able to catch me there most often. Also, please hit the subscribe button because I will be releasing more YouTube videos in the future, mostly gonna be video essays and whatever else I can think of. And might as well hit the bell button to get me in the algorithm. You know how it is. So, thank you for stopping by. And cut.